hot dang, hot dang, hot dang, hot dang. Greetings. Today's talk is at RFK Stadium, as you can see behind me. I wanted to note we have three topics today. The first is the buyout is done. The second one is that Lamborghini is claiming that the Tesla Roadster is a bluff. And we have some cleanup items that are associated with what's going on in terms of new info on Tesla post. Greetings, this is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time on our channel, please take time to like and subscribe. If you're a new visitor, welcome. And also please note we do have ads. Watching 8 or 9 seconds of the ad does support the channel, as does any Patreon support you can provide. So the whole buyout thing has come up over the last 2 or 3 weeks. And the answer is that Tesla / Elon Musk has announced that the buyout is over. I'm actually thrilled. The main reason is that Tesla is at a very heavy investment zone for the company to grow where it needs to be. And by introducing the cost of a buyout and the debt management that would mean, I think it potentially could destroy the company, or could have destroyed the company. So, any rate, I'm excited. This is, terrific news that it's not happening. I frankly wouldn't put it past Elon to come up with some new crisis in the next couple of weeks that we don't know about yet. So I would say stay tuned. Stay tuned. I don't think the battles with the hedge funds are over. I do think they're going to continue to happen. So, and then the other thing about it is that Elon really loves to introduce creative projects. There's a lot on the plate of Tesla already when it comes to trucks, the Roadster, and an SUV off the Model 3 base. So there's no shortage of projects to be done. So at any rate, I'm excited about the fact that there's no buyout happening, and I'm looking forward. Unfortunately, the location I chose today, we do have trains moving by, so I may take breaks during our train to address that, as you can see. Those are the Model 7000s, new trains that have come from France to the Washington D.C. metro area, and they're twice as noisy and therefore heavier than the previous trains, but beautiful insides, a much needed upgrade. Now, the second thing I wanted to cover today, before getting to sort of a cleanup for the week's news on Tesla, is the fact that the chief technical officer of Lamborghini has come out and said that Elon Musk is bluffing with the Model 3, he's bluffing with the Roadster as a supercar, and it's not going to happen. So I was really shocked by this because of a whole bunch of reasons. Number one, he could have actually driven the car to get a feel for it if he had gone to the Tesla initial event, or he could put down the 50 grand and get a test drive. Another question mark that comes up is that within the Audi family, which Lamborghini is part of, they actually have some pretty high performance vehicles going on. As you probably know, his definition of a supercar is a car that can go over 6,500 miles and that can run at very high speeds for 3 loops of the Nuremberg Ring in Germany. Tesla has not run the Nuremberg Ring, but the top end of the top of the line Model S is about 150 miles an hour, and it's already turning in better numbers than anything Lamborghini produces. And at 150K, it's a third the cost of, let's say, a top of the line Lamborghini. So I'm kind of surprised that he has come up with this analysis, but I guess he might be right, because the S can't I think there's a governor on it that keeps it below 150 miles an hour. So very interesting sort of choice of analysis by the head of Lamborghini. I was also intrigued because I think I'm probably going to choose again. Lamborghini has a superconducting vehicle that they're in development with MIT on, and that will likely be our thumbnail again because I think it looks cool. And the thing that gets people beyond lithium-ion batteries is once we get to superconducting, sort of the next stage of the process where you can get faster charging times. It'll be a lower cost battery than lithium-ion, and therefore is the next step. A lot of people are saying 2021 when this comes out. Tesla's suggesting that there are improvements for battery density and other reasons that you can do with lithium-ion through 2025 before we move to superconducting, but we'll have to stay tuned to see what happens. I'm kind of fascinated also by the choice of Lamborghini to make this comment about not possible, because part of their the VW family is the Mission E as well as the e-tron, and both vehicles seem pretty viable to me, and they can't do the super performance we talked about, but they are credible vehicles. The next thing so I'm very surprised at his analysis, and I'm a Lamborghini fan actually. One of my favorite cars is the Countach, which, as you know, in Italian means, I think it's sexual. Sexy redhead comes to mind, but that's the Testarossa. But they drove it out, and evidently the Countach comment was what people made. At any rate, I'm a big Lamborghini fan. The big problem they have is it's so costly to buy and own those vehicles that as soon as the Roadster comes out and somebody wants unique performance in the supercar category, I think the Roadster utterly decimates companies like Lamborghini. They have enough money to do the R&D it takes to stay in business, but I think that as soon as the Roadster hits and sales start happening there and owners start having an experience that they can't have speed-wise, performance-wise in any other motor car, I think one or two of these major names will actually end up shutting down. There's a final thing I was sort of debating on how to deal with this, and that is that I have an update kind of in the trucking space when it comes to Cummins. This past week, the head of communications for Cummins came out and indicated that there's really no fear for long-haul trucking for another 10 years because that's the time horizon within which the transition over to electric might occur realistically, and therefore Cummins is in a great position. I was really shocked, disappointed at this, because Cummins has been doing some research and has started recently to make acquisitions. But I have to say that I really feel that the whole trucking industry, especially Cummins, is in deep, deep trouble. And right now, with there being no real volumes of any electric trucks out there, it's a great time to use that market cap that they have to go after sort of buying their way into the future in a better position. What I mean by that is this. Just for giggles, it turns out that the motor is being used. Let's say there are three of them, let's say four motors, electric motors are being used on the semi. The problem is each of those motors have 17 moving parts. So let's say there were 20 parts in that motor. The nightmare that pops up here is that you have a situation where Tesla, an ICE engine has 2,000 parts, and because it's large trucks that Cummins does, you'd have to say that they can make money off of incrementally all those parts. When we drop down to 80 parts in that engine, and Tesla is one of the leading manufacturers of batteries, I just think this creates really bad news for the future of Cummins and companies like them. I really think that Cummins is in an interesting stuck position. Their engines go into a large number of vehicles, from different manufacturers. And I believe that they're the number one manufacturer of engines in the world. What I'm forecasting for Tesla is that in 2019, Tesla will produce between 2,000 and 5,000 trucks. By 2021 or 22, Tesla is going to be at between 50 and 100,000 trucks a year. Now, I think this is really bad news for in an industry where in the United States there are 200,000 semis produced or sold each year-ish. And then if we multiply that around the world times 3, let's say there are 1 million vehicles a year. I believe by 2024 or 2025, we're going to see approximately 100,000 to 200,000 vehicles a year coming out of Tesla in the electric space. Now, if the problem that happens is that if a company like Cummins chooses to delay getting heavily into the electric space until then, they're in deep trouble, because now, just like with the Model S, you have an establishment of the field and you have best practices happening from one player, maybe BYD, maybe Tesla. I say likely Tesla. And so now you have them scrambling to try to catch up in an environment where they're one of the smallest players, and you have Tesla being able to use its muscle to, in essence, squish them like a bug. So I was actually stunned to not see a sense of urgency that's articulated by a 10-year time frame for when Cummins is going to make a big move. I suspect that one of the reasons why there's a slow to address this issue situation is that ultimately the business model of Tesla is vertical integration from battery production. Another noisemaker, my apologies once again. So getting back to our conversation, I believe that Cummins is going to have to make a hard decision about vertical integration. The problem is that if they're bought by a large manufacturer like a Daimler, or if they, there's just a lot of problems right now for Cummins. Basically, if you have one manufacturer buy them, should the other manufacturers still use Cummins engines? We have another train here coming. So there's a whole unknown zone of what happens to the trucking industry in terms of its current structure. Because if you have a manufacturer that's vertically integrated all the way from batteries to production of motors to production of the trucks, BYD is the only major competitor in the world right now for Tesla. And the driver for that is they produce their own batteries and therefore don't have to wait for battery supplies from third parties in Korea primarily that are trying to spread the supplies they have across a number of manufacturers. Thank you for the comment there, Donovan. Making a note of it and trying not to say as much as we have large sounds going by us. So, long-winded statement to say, I do believe that Cummins is in some deep hurt right now. And my hope is that unlike Sony, when it comes to Apple and the iPhone, the company doesn't delay to the point where you now have large-scale delivery of trucks happening, and all these customers aligned already with Tesla have more inclination to continue buying from Tesla than they do trying to add another electric solution after Tesla gets into the space, because the quality of execution, I think, will be at a high enough level where Tesla's not leaving room for competitors to swing back into the space successfully. So if you're a Tesla or a stockholder, I think things are great. If you're a Cummins stockholder, I feel like management right now is blowing it, because they have room to aggressively redo the space using the market cap they have, but I'm not seeing a sense of urgency that gives a sense that they understand the situation that they're in. So We have trains coming, a lot of things happening here. I'm gonna end and show you around us. RFK Stadium is right behind us. Don't forget, check out the 5-2 diet as well as the paleo diet. I did my 15 leg lifts on both legs this morning. Gonna do some exercise as well to support this process. I kind of chose this location, unfortunately, because the stadium you see behind me is RFK Stadium in Washington, D.C. You can kind of look it up on the map. They're going to have to decide what to do with it in the next year. And I think it may actually be destroyed and turned into apartments or something down here for a lot of reasons. In front of me or behind the camera is the farmer's market I'm headed to today. The fresh produce that comes in here to Washington, D.C. from Maryland and all the way up and down the East Coast is terrific. And, you know, I think it's awesome. So please, just as a reminder, at least 30 FPF or better, regardless of skin color, to make sure you don't get any disease that way. Try to don't eat within 2 hours of going to bed. Definitely helpful in terms of the health on a long-term basis. Wow, 1 hour, 30 minutes of body pumping and spinning. Thanks, Donovan, for the comments. I want to thank all of you that take time out to say hello from around the world, primarily my good friends here. Appreciate that. John, I saw you on there. Also, reminder to like, comment on any of this that you've seen. Hopefully Lamborghini doesn't go out of business, because I think it's a great company, but man, the Tesla competition, better numbers at a lower price is really challenging for these companies. Any rate, once again, tschüss, German, au revoir, French, lahit, wrote, Hebrew, Hoda Hafez, Farsi, Farvel, Dutch. In Jamaica, we say, no respect, walk good man. And thanks once again for joining us. Look forward to our next encounter. Have a great day. Bye for now. So we're looking at RFK Stadium, kind of in the parking lot of the and you're seeing our farmers market here behind me that shows up weekly. Really great food. We're actually right next to I'll go for the Hejdu, even though I don't know if it's pronounced right. Thanks for the comment, Donovan. Have a great day, and thanks for joining us.